Hey FIT, you're tuning in to Real Talk with Zadrian Smith, and today I'm speaking to the president of our school, the Fashion Institute of Technology. Not only is she the first African American and female of this great institution, she has contributed for more than 10 years to helping groom the future leaders and innovators of the fashion industry. Let's get up close and personal with Dr. Joyce Brown.
Excited. It's been a lot of fun. It's my very first fashion week, so I'm enjoying myself.
I think the most important thing is to be less concerned about starting your own design house and really going to work for someone that you admire, whose work you love.
13 years ago, you had a vision. Tell us that vision.
The vision was that there were several students who were interested in not only singing the gospel music, but singing, period.
It showcases for the world how important FIT is to the industry and the great respect that clearly people have for us and the esteem in which we're held.
Hey FIT, this is Zadrian Smith and you're tuning in to Real Talk, and today I have a very special guest. I have the president of our great institution, Dr. Joyce Brown. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Brown.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Perfect. So we just want to start maybe from the beginning a little bit, just to find out a little bit about you. Now, as a little girl, you grew up in Harlem, right?
I did.
And Harlem has changed so much. I think we have read in the papers and seen how Harlem is becoming gentrified. How have you seen Harlem change, and how has the face of Harlem from the past and the one that we see now, how has that changed the dynamic of the Harlem area?
Well, it's interesting, you know, as different areas of New York City get developed, you see the movement going in areas that people didn't think about for long periods of time. And I think that's part of what's happening in Harlem.
Now, education was a very important part of your life. You have a PhD in psychology, correct?
I do.
Now, when was it that you decided that you wanted to take that next step to, you know, after undergraduate school and to go into graduate and do your studies to get a PhD in psychology? And why psychology?
Psychology was fascinating because of what it implied, I thought, in terms of what you could learn, how you could come to understand and work with people. As I worked in institutions, you know, organizations, as I got older and had more experience, I recognized the value of being able to listen well and to try to understand people's motivations for their behavior, to turn that into a positive.
Now, where did you do your graduate studies?
I went to NYU.
NYU, okay.
Yeah, I am a real New Yorker.
A real New Yorker all around.
I did think about going to California for my graduate work. I actually went out there, and then I thought, what am I doing? I mean, I really am a New Yorker. I have to get back.
What do you think motivates the students to, you know, to dress how they dress or to express themselves in their fashionable sense? Is there a connection there? Some people say they do it for the attention. I tend to think that we do it to express ourselves because I tend to like to play with fashion and stuff like that. How would you explain that to someone who does not have the psychosis of, you know, people in the fashion industry?
I personally don't think students need to explain why they do what they do. I think they are expressing themselves, and I think they should express themselves. I think there are, I mean, you said it well, there are people who just don't get it, but then they're not here.
Now let's talk about the students, and we know that the fashion design department is one of the largest departments at our school, and you yourself are quite fashionable. We always see you looking very nice. Now, have you ever worn clothes designed by students at the school?
Well, you know, interestingly, a few years ago, we, you know, every year we have an event that celebrates and honors some of our graduates, our alums. And there was a student at the time who came to me and said he would like to make the dress that I would wear for the gala for that event. I was very honored and pleased, and of course students have no money ever, so I bought the material and we worked on the design together. But it's unusual because students have to work so very hard. They have so many commitments in their own
especially the fashion design
and
majors.
The fashion design students, oh my God, you know,
the lights are always on the
well,
C
really
design floors.
It doesn't matter what time or what day or what time. I could come here 10 o'clock Sunday night and the students are here.
They're here.
In and out of the labs doing their work. But this young man wanted to do it, and so I allowed him to do it, and he did a wonderful job. And he today is designer Hilton Hollis.
Hilton Hollis. Now, a lot of people say that our campus is, of course, unique. It's one block, the 27th Street block, and we take up the entire block. But some people also say that because we lack a campus, that is one of the disadvantages of going to our school. Can you just talk about the dynamic of going to FIT and just the community that we've developed for ourselves here?
Well, I think that, I think certainly a campus life is different than, I mean, a true campus life. I think of this as a campus. You know, it's our little block in the middle of the city, and New York City becomes an extension of our campus. And I think for the work that we do and the goals that the students have for themselves, that's very important. But certainly, if we had, you know, rolling hills and green, the green main, you know, part of the campus where people could sort of throw down a blanket and muse, that would be lovely as well. I think that ultimately, when we finish with the capital expansion that we're working on, we will be able to close this street and create a little more feeling of a private little enclave here that'll be really limited to cars, and it'll have benches and trees, and it'll be a welcoming place for people in the community to come and sit as well.
How do you handle failure?
I try to learn from it. I always feel there's a lesson. Sometimes it's things you didn't realize, you didn't analyze it properly, you didn't anticipate. Sometimes there's just really, at the end of the day, you can't figure out what you should have done differently, but you can learn.
I think a lot of students may have gotten discouraged, especially in the past years, with the economy and the downsizing of some of the top magazines and the fashion contribution to some of the top newspapers. What would you say to this student who's discouraged, not only in the possibilities of getting a job, but just discouraged in the product that they're creating, or discouraged in the work that they're putting out, if they're not feeling that they're doing what they wanted for themselves, or not getting the job offers that they would have had expected at graduation?
Well, there's a couple of things I would say. One is we cannot, I mean, we have to be realistic. I mean, the market has changed. There's no question that the market has changed. But oftentimes, that kind of change creates new opportunities. And, you know, it goes back to being ready for the ways in which things change as we speak. We can't let others define success for us. You have to keep focused. You have to remember that you have to maintain your self-confidence about your ability to achieve in the areas that you've set for yourself, and recognize that there were certain parts of the market that crashed and changed, but they're going to rise up and perhaps look different than they looked 5 years ago.
WFIT has been covering Fashion Week, and there's only one day left, but I was reassured this week. I mean, I met Ken Downing from Neiman Marcus, Nanette Lepore, Dennis Bostel. Like, the list was just continuous, and they all had that common thread. Oh, I went to FIT. Oh, I went to FIT. And there's just a warm feeling you get from these top industry people when all you say is, I'm a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology, and it's like a light goes on in their face. And how do you think we've built such a great, our clout in the industry is just great, and what is that formula to success? How have we done that?
I think we've done it by being true to ourselves. I mean, we have a great product. Our students are smart and talented. They work very hard. Our faculty is first rate, and we have very high standards. We continue to work on the curriculum. We continue to work on our relationships with industry. We take it very seriously.
Good to know that we have a president who is very student-oriented and student-minded, because you are the voice for us when you're speaking to these big state people. So thank you so much for taking time to speak with us.
Thank you.